I almost universally hate flashback episodes, but I can see that this is probably going to be most people's favorite episode because they get Joel back. It's a very performance-based character episode.
I guess my overarching feedback for this one is just, did we need this?
That's pretty much what I think about flashbacks in general. They never add as much as I think they're supposed to.
Yeah, I definitely think this would have been better off starting the season. Like, show us this stuff, show us their, I guess, journey into a strained relationship, and then have him killed off, because that would be more painful, I think, is seeing the downfall, and then it's like, oh, you never actually get a moment to pick the pieces back up.
It seems like they did want the mystery of, oh, why are they estranged now? What could have happened in between? But then they waited 7 episodes and then crammed it all into one episode. Because the game does the same thing, but comparison is the thief of joy, so I'm going to try to avoid the game, at least for the start part, because it was character-focused. What did you think of performances?
The best performances that we've had.
Yeah.
For sure.
Bella suits a child way more, and I think she plays child Ellie quite well. I'm more than happy for her to be a goofy little kid, like eating cake by the handful.
See, I hated that.
Oh, really?
So
you see that? But that's just goofy. That was what she was. She goofed off and everything. What I didn't like about her performance, that when she was suddenly 19, I couldn't see or feel any difference.
It's my fucking birthday, man. See what you got. Oh shit, there's a little squirrel fucking a big squirrel.
Because she was still talking like she did when she was 16.
Yes. Fundamentally, we don't like the way Ellie's being written. So, yeah, there isn't enough of a change. But
they're not writing 16-year-old Ellie and 19-year-old Ellie. They're still just writing 16-year-old Ellie, but she swears more.
Yeah, I've definitely felt, especially after like how much the last few episodes have been memed with the laugh track and how it's very much like a sitcom.
Yeah.
Every time something stupid happened, I was like, laugh track. Laugh track, the cake scene, oh my God, that irritated me because it just felt like a laugh track was meant to be playing.
I think they got away with it because it's meant to be a happy flashback.
I mean, I guess the only way you're meant to really know that she's younger is that her hairstyle slightly changes. I was like,
slightly worse.
Yeah, well, founding father ponytail when she's young. I was like, what is this disgusting? Put it
They're
up
doing
in the
her
bun.
dirty for sure.
Yeah, meanwhile, Dina gets to have a perfect blowout every time. That's not fair. Because I can say I'm an expert in children of that age, seeing them every day for 7 hours. I felt like that was not actually a 14-year-old. Like, all the 14-year-olds I know would not be caught dead acting like that.
You don't know kids that grew up in the apocalypse, though.
True, so they should be way not goofy. They
way
should
more
be
weathered.
super, like, jaded and angry.
Yeah.
And not like, look at me, just fisting this cake. Not with that term. Just grabbing handfuls of cake. It really annoyed me seeing that scene because it felt sitcom, it felt out of place. And I guess it's hard to go back to young Ellie after we've been with old Ellie for a while.
You are seeing that kind of behavior come out of someone that looks no different to how you've just seen them try to murder people. So there is that.
Yeah.
Joel gets Ellie something for her birthday, and he turns around, and then we cut back comedically, and she's there just smacking that subscribe button, just subscribing all over the place. It's structured more like an episode than some of the other episodes we've had because we get more of a finale. We get a little bow on the episode, basically, whereas we haven't been doing bookends. We love a bookend.
It bookends the movie. I love a bookend. I'm always looking for a bookend.
But I was immediately on the back foot, not loving the episode, because as soon as we see Child Joel and Tommy Jr., I'm immediately like, I fucking knew they would do this shit. Like, god damn it, this is the most flashback I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was flashbackception. Like, it was, we were going further back than we expected. I hated it. I was like, hold on, what's happening?
Yep.
And I wrote, Naughty Dog forgot which game they were doing? Uncharted 4?
Oh,
Because it was like, brothers up to mischief again.
Yeah.
I hated it, personally.
I think hate's a strong word because I don't think it added enough for me to hate it.
But that's why I hate it. It doesn't add anything.
I get, especially with a 7-episode season, we're so limited on time by their design. Like, they've chosen to do this.
What if we stretch across into 2 seasons?
We're so time limited, and they've decided to limit us even more. When I saw that this was a 90-minute episode, I'm like, okay, we're not doing just flashbacks. Are we flashbacking into flashbacks? And yes, they dragged absolutely everything out. The flashback kind of only really served as that bookend. I think it changes the way they're framing these flashbacks because it's not from Ellie's perspective. Like, we don't get Ellie's perspective of their time together in the flashbacks.
they were trying to use it as this like seed planter of like, we don't want to keep having generational domestic violence. And I'm like, but there isn't domestic violence going on in this survival setting.
That's what I mean by it reframes the whole flashback structure, and it takes away from their relationship, and it makes it a generational trauma relationship.
Yeah.
Like, do better than the person before you. That's what they're going for. It's violence
Yes.
against violence. An eye for an eye. Like, I get hit by my dad, so I hit the next person.
Yeah.
You take my dad, I take your dad, then you revenge kill. I get it, but I think it jumbles it a little bit more. And also, that's not what we're here for. We're here for, like, their relationship specifically.
Yeah.
Like we do in the game.
The whole thing's meant to be a very Joel point of view.
Craig Mazin says that they didn't do the Joel flashbacks and make it Joel-centric because, people are going to miss Joel. He says it's because they wanted to recontextualize the things that happened to Ellie.
Yeah.
Through episode 1, we do already see that part of the flashback, so they didn't want to just replay it. They decided to flip it. But I don't think Joel adds enough to it, and I don't think that's what we're here for. Joel's dead. I'm sorry, he is.
Yeah, and I think this is too far away from his death for us to care about it.
A month and a half since he died. One thing the game does way better is that you're seeing moments in their lives where their relationship is already stressed, and you're seeing the bright parts of it. If anything, they're showing you the more positive aspects of their relationship, and like the darkness behind it is all the tension of their relationship. But the moments you're seeing are actually relatively happy, and it's them trying. Whereas in this, we're seeing the specific moments that broke down their relationship.
Yeah.
Joel doesn't like that I'm gay.
Which was such a, like, Steve and I were, whoa,
Almost character assassination kind of deal. Yeah.
Yeah. They probably wanted to be like, because we want to show a Southern person having a time to process. I don't think that's the thing. If you didn't, just let him be. Just let him be happy to have a child. I think he wouldn't really be picky about it at this point.
And that's the thing, they skip over it in the flashbacks in the games. He does find out and he seems cool with it, but I like that it doesn't show the specific moments that tore them apart, because those moments make it more about that rather than them trying. I think them trying is the interesting thing. You have almost the entire happy flashback of the museum, because that is ripped directly from the games.
Yeah.
Like, there's almost no difference there apart from Ellie's helmet fits weirdly good for a child.
I thought it looked goofy, but...
That would be the most beautiful flashback, I think, for people that haven't played the game. Because, again, you got nothing to compare it to. That's probably the grabby part of the episode for most people, and it was really well shot. They did build the sets one-to-one to the game.
It felt like that, yeah.
I am odd on that, like...
Yeah, I guess it's weird the things they think cannot change from the game. Like, we'd rather visual over good storytelling.
But I guess maybe it's hard when you've got, like, something to literally compare shot for shot, like...
I guess I didn't really have as much of an opinion in terms of, like, the types of flashback we were seeing compared to the game. But I like seeing the relationship strain, because for me, I didn't like the sudden... I always hate the time jumps, but I don't like having to believe that they're strained without seeing why. I don't think it adds mystery to me. It just made me go, it feels temporary. Like, the way they were not talking to each other just felt like, okay, a dad and a teenage daughter. Like, yeah, you go through phases.
It's too easy to justify in your own head.
Yeah.
It's not mysterious, because they're like, yeah, fathers and daughters do be growing apart. Like,
yeah, she'd just be annoyed at him for something. It could literally be something super trivial.
Yep.
Instead of giving us the actual reason why.
Yeah.
I find that more interesting to see the downfall of it. Yes, it was nice to have the nice moments. And again, it would have been good to have those nice flashbacks before we get him stripped away from us, instead of them having completely separate storylines before he gets, conked. But fundamentally, I think it's just bad story form. Like, we're structuring things in the worst way possible, and I just think you can rewrite this and recut this into a better sequence.
Yes, and a flashback before the finale episode does feel weird. It feels like a midpoint episode more than a penultimate.
Yes, for sure.
Major drama of the episode comes from Ellie slowly figuring out that Joel is a liar. I don't love the way they treated Joel this episode, like making him a real stickler for the rules, which means no gays, no sex, no drugs, no rock and roll.
Republican Joel came out.
Yeah, to the point where he's so rule follower that we get somewhat of payoff, I guess, from the Eugene plotline introduced in episode 1, which is the reason why Gail, the therapist, hates Joel, or at least is pissed at him. But I guess Apocalypse, she can't stay mad at everyone forever.
Yeah.
Although, that's kind of Ellie's
the
whole
point
thing.
of the
Wait
season?
a minute.
Hold on.
Catherine O'Hara already proved that you can forgive people. God damn it, Ellie.
But she's just a silly, stupid girl.
Eugene's been bit, and he wants to say goodbye to his wife, but rule follower Joel says no.
Yes.
And he lies to Ellie saying we'll get him back and let him say goodbye to Gale.
I think it's insane, this episode being so Joel's perspective, that we actually don't see any of his proper justification for things. Like, the whole time I'm watching that, I'm thinking, well, no, it makes sense. It's a high-risk thing to bother doing that. And also, we went through the whole pain of having his daughter Sarah, that whole death scene. I can imagine him going, I don't want anyone to have to literally hold their partner while they die. So he's like, I'm going to save Catherine O'Hara's character from dealing with that. I don't want her to have that, your last memory and your main memory of that person being their last moments of life, and they're twitching and convulsing and horrible.
This is Ellie's story, so giving us Joel's flashback and attempting to show his justification for things, isn't it more interesting to see her justification of why he's mad? Like, from her perspective, if she believed Joel and watched him murdered. The way they frame it in the game is Ellie and Joel are on patrol, they're looking for those guitar strings, and they find the dead bodies of 2 people that ran away from Jackson, and they find them dead and turned, and then Ellie says, if only they were immune. And that's kind of how they get into she's wondering, weren't there supposed to be more immune people? She's still never run into them.
Yeah, right.
So her cure could have stopped these 2 kids from getting bitten, because they survived the bites. It was the turning that actually got them. And that's the same thing here with Eugene, where he survived the actual encounter, but if he was immune, he would be fine. But they don't really touch on that as much because we're busy with Joel. She doesn't even say, what if he was immune? Eugene's been bitten, but he hasn't turned yet. We don't actually know he's going to turn until he turns.
True.
If there's
that would have been way more interesting. That would have
given her
justified,
more hope, I guess.
Yeah.
Because instead, it really was framed as we need to show that Joel's a liar. So we're going to show Joel lying. Eugene's performance was good with
so good.
He's just scared and he wants to see his wife. That was a lovely moment. But then Joel's like, no.
No.
He says the Captain Holt line of, if you love someone, you always know what they look like, or you can always see their face.
Oh, I didn't like that.
I get Joel can probably always see his daughter, and maybe that's why they were doing that, but they didn't show the daughter. They zoomed in on his watch.
Exactly. Yeah,
and his watch now belongs to his dad.
Dude.
The intro flashback does muddy things. That's what I mean.
They're really trying to make fetch happen with that watch, and it's not going to happen.
They're going to start selling them. You're going to be like, Joel's broken watch.
No, guys, I guess I like that immune sort of thing more. I justified it myself with Joel. And this is one of the big things, isn't it? That the porch scene does slightly adjust, where he's like, no, I believe that they would have had a cure and everyone would be fine now. Like,
right.
Because she asks, like, would they have made a cure? And he's like, yeah. Oh, sorry. So you don't have any justification for this other than this my daughter now.
They have made a cure.
I think I prefer it untouched.
I don't think it has to be as extreme as him saying there isn't a cure. I think it should just be the risk isn't worth it.
Yeah.
There isn't enough there to risk the possible only...
We don't know whether the cure would work, but I don't think it being possible changes Joel's motivation, because he's not going to lose his baby girl again.
No, of course. But it helps a little bit to anyone who is a bit more like, Joel needs to be morally good. He needs to be justified in doing good things for the, even though he is a selfish person, I felt like they made him just an asshole now.
Yeah, I think they did a lot of harm to him, but I'm okay with him murdering a bunch of people because it's his baby girl. Like, for him, that makes sense. I'm like, he went through it already. We have, evidence that he would not enjoy that. We already know Joel's justification for all of it, because in season 1, episode 1, we see his daughter first. In the correct order, not a flashback.
Yes.
We get to build a relationship with them, and then they take her away from us. And then later on, it's like, oh, he's got a new daughter. He's not letting that happen again.
Exactly.
We get that.
Yes.
We didn't need to, imagine if it just started with Joel and Ellie, and then, episode 7, they decided to flashback to be by the way, Joel
it wouldn't make sense, and it wouldn't feel as impactful.
Yeah, Joel has a reason to do things, see? And
there's a reason linear storytelling is the most popular.
He was brave, and he ended it himself.
Joel says, whoops-a-daisy, this is my version of events. Man should be a lawyer.
He didn't even try to hide it from Ellie, though. He didn't meet back up and say, oh, she turned.
Why wouldn't he say that to her? Say, look, logically, if we're on patrol and stuff's happening like this, it's not worth the risk.
Yeah.
Those few unsure minutes could be death to everyone else if we brought him back to camp.
Also, they're in no rush to get back. he's like, I have only an hour, and then they're just like wandering through the forest, and he's like, I don't even know where to go.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, guys.
Is it
Hurry.
this way? Aren't we going to the lake?
He was always going to die, and it was always going to be that Joel killed him, and then it really is just proving to Ellie that Joel can lie, and he's like, oh, if you lied about that, what else can you lie about? It feels boiled down and simple, I guess.
Yeah.
That it's like...
I didn't like her, and I guess it's everyone will always just justify it as Ellie is young, so she's allowed to be stupid.
Right.
But I hated her thinking she knew better and like, no, he's lying. I'm going to tell you now. I'm like, oh, cool. So you think this lady now screaming and crying and being distraught is the better option of the two?
She didn't do it for that, I guess. Like, yeah, she didn't want to upset
Well, then yell at
Catherine,
Joel afterwards.
but she did want to call him out. But she's emotional and stupid. Because she's a teenager.
She is dumb as hell.
Yeah.
And again, it's not giving teenagers any credit because they are actually very cunning.
Yeah.
Most of the
Evil,
time.
a lot of them.
Evil, no. But especially because he's meant to be a father figure.
Yeah.
Surely there's sometimes little girl, you just need to tell a white lie to make someone feel better. But they weren't giving the payoff of that to anything. And I do like that she is annoyed that he's lying all the time, but I just don't like the way they've gone about showing it.
Yep. That's fair.
No, I understand what you're saying. Teenage daughter mad at dad. That's simple.
It's like,
anyone can do that without justification.
I don't need to see rock and roll teen getting a tattoo.
Yeah, and I literally immediately Googled, can you tattoo over scar tissue? And it was like, you can, but you shouldn't.
We also really didn't need that bit where she burnt herself. It shows that he cares, but we already knew she burnt herself. Like, we've gone through that.
Yeah.
And we know why she did it, because to hide the... Like, she already explained that to Dina.
And we've seen her covering up the other bite marks and stuff with stitching.
It really
so
did feel like they just wanted to fill time because they needed to fill an hour, so that's why they gave us Joel's childhood flashback and then that extra flashback. Because the other two flashbacks, even with gameplay, don't reach, like, an hour episode.
I didn't make it to the end of the game, so I don't mind this porch scene being earlier.
Yeah.
And they gave great performances. I really loved. That's probably the main scene that I liked out of this.
No, it does prove that Bella can act.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think she's just either being directed and written bad, or maybe she just doesn't suit the kind of character she's playing, but she can suit the yelling and screaming at her dad. I
think Ellie as a character is hard to sell in real life. I think maybe anyone could struggle if they're given the same writing. This episode definitely was giving me flashbacks to Life is Strange.
Right.
Where it just felt like 2010s Tumblr, Reddit writing.
This is why I'm depressed.
Yeah, and I don't know, vibes, not here for it. I just can't grasp anything to really relate to Ellie or like her, and I don't know why.
Your dad never lied to you and killed a bunch of people?
Well,
if we did Ellie's perspective this time, it might have been interesting to go more into the fact that she felt like she had a destiny, like her entire purpose.
Oh yeah, that she scribbled on her drawings.
For that she had a destiny, or at least she had convinced herself that she was the cure.
At the end of the day, everything I felt like we were told this episode doesn't really affect the present day.
It was carried by performances.
Yeah.
I think the episode's bloated because the only main nice bits, I guess, when it's a museum and then them at the end actually talking it out.
Yeah.
I do think the rest of it is kind of over bloated because they have to, like, the game spaces out for a reason. This is like crammed it all together, and it does feel weird being the penultimate episode, but those performances were good.
Yes.
So, and it was pretty for those scenes, so I am torn on it because I guess I would want that, but maybe I would rather it be tacked into an episode or it all happened at the start. But overall, I can see why people will love this episode, even if I structurally think it's a mistake and might hurt the season as a whole, and probably hurt season 2 and 3 as a whole.
I guess there are some people out there that aren't as destroyed as us that can just sit and enjoy it. Look, I can enjoy my trash. You know, I can sit and really zone out. But for this, I'm having to put the effort in to stay engaged with it, which is not what I thought it would be. I even tried rewatching the first season because my sister hadn't watched it, and I was like, oh, this was more boring than I remember. There's still nothing here to keep me going, you know? If
one more episode.
Thank God. I genuinely am going to put all my eggs in one basket and think that the Abby season might pop off and they'll start getting it right and it'll be interesting.
I think it's a more interesting story that she gets because it's post-revenge. I do hate mentioning the game, but it's you and Joel doing tense things together. So it's like you're surviving, you're doing what you did in the first season. Putting that kind of external pressure on a relationship is interesting.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, it's all just them. Like, they don't encounter any real external threats or anything. It's just them in this episode.
And that's because ultimately nothing really matters. But it would be a good excuse for them to develop some of those zombies. Or like it could have been the place where they put like the big staunched bloaters or whatever.
Yeah, it's a blow to you both fight in that flashback.
Oh, so what?
Convenient.
Why did they put it in there then?
Yeah, I liked it a lot more than the more CW focused episodes we've had previously.
Yeah, okay.
You didn't like it as much?
I don't know. I just don't know what I would even rate this out of 5 or even out of 10 because
5 out of 7. Happy to see Pedro again.
not even. You'd think I would be, but I was like, he's gone. He's dead to me. Why should I care anymore? I know he doesn't exist anymore. There's no pain in here.
I think it's also hurt by, it doesn't feel like we've gone through as much of a journey where Ellie is now like absolutely destroyed by this point for us to have like, I don't know, earned these flashbacks. They've had not too much trouble.
I do feel like, again, it's just the pacing issues, the structure of it, because ending on that, her being, you know, brutally murdering whatever her name was, Nora or something, in the basement. I'm like, cool. This would be a great point to now start fast pacing this shit. Like start hitting the ground running. Let's have a bit of.
If they were going to do it, yeah, Nora should have been like episode 3 or 4 at this point.
It is what it is, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you thought, and if you loved it, and if you're happy to see Pedro again. I'd be interested to know how many people actually view this as their favorite episode, even though it's missing a lot of factors that you'd probably say are the Last of Us, but you've got your key relationship back.
Especially if you haven't played the games.
Yes.
Do you actually like having a Joel episode right now? That's what I want to know.